I want to just talk about door knocking today, because door knocking is such a funny thing in the world of agency, whereas some, residents will find it kind of really intrusive and have absolutely no idea why we do it. So I think I just want to talk about the reasons behind it really, and why it works and why it might not work for some people, so on and so forth.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're right. It's one of those things that has a really, really bad rep, probably from years ago, of double glazing salesmen and things like that. But the honest truth is that a lot of the times when we're doing it, they may be clients that haven't actually spoken to you as a company before. And obviously, it's like everyone has the opinion that people just put houses on Rightmove and all estate agents are the same. Yeah. And it's a way for us to connect with people, not just help them sell the house, but hopefully help them look for something as well.
Yeah.
Definitely goes one way or another with some people. We had quite a few that aren't too keen, but like what I said in the other podcast as well, with that one me and Luke went to, that eventually meant that, he went in there, they literally showed him around straight away and he got it on the market, sold it. So it has helped us definitely in the past. And even sometimes like a friendly face, sometimes it's not even about door knocking, it's just what do you want to buy locally, because they're needing to find somewhere too. So helping them not just sell, but also get on, try and find their onward as well.
So it's sort of less, it's not about us getting involved really, it's about us being there to help them.
Absolutely.
And if we see that they're trying to sell and we haven't got their contact details or we've not been out before, it's just making sure that they know we're around to help them, even if it's not to sell their own house but find their onward. And are we doing, like, when do you find that people are most receptive of it? Is it kind of as it goes on the market, or is it after it's been on
we do
a few months?
It depends on the client, I think.
Yeah, we do a bit of a mixture, to be honest, when like we've got we'll keep an eye on things that have just gone available recently, but also a lot of the ones that have been on for months and months on end that are getting absolutely nothing on. They're probably the main focus, I'd say, because Luke does a lot of our door knocking in Carn.
Yeah.
Round Bassett, we kind of split it, both of us, or sometimes do the call me cards, which helps. So it's a bit of a less, intrusive approach, if you will, knocking on the door, but it will just be like, give us a call, we'd love to have a chat with you. And we found that one's helped a lot. We've got quite a few.
I suppose that sort of leaves it with people to decide whether to phone or not, doesn't it?
There's no context on there. It'll literally just be call us. So you're kind of enticed to know more, but then equally, it's some people might find it a little bit, like you say, intrusive, knocking on the door. But because although we're just there to sort of give a hand, not everyone sees it as that.
No, of course, no.
But most people, I think, are pretty receptive to it. I think at the end of the day, do you want an agent that's actually proactive and has got a plan, or do you want an agent that's just going to sit in the office and wait for the phone to ring?
Yeah, hope for the best.
So if it's me and I wanted to sell my house and I'm hearing nothing from my agent, and someone's knocking on my door saying, can I help you? Can I help you find?
Definitely.
Can I help you do this?
Yeah.
And it's done in that non-intrusive way of just, a mobile phone number on a card, please call me. Then a follow-up, I don't personally think most people are pretty receptive to it.
Yeah, and I think the nice thing for sellers to know that of houses that you are knocking on is we aren't there to try and take a house off another estate agent. We're there to find out where you're moving to.
Oh yeah,
can we find, or do you need help with, have you been offered help with your mortgage? It's not about kind of us and other estate agents in a battle. It's really, really about the client.
Yeah, when Luke, for example, Luke's just done exactly that, gone and seen them. They're in a contract, so there's nothing we can do to get them out of the contract. He's given them all the advice, sat there with them, recommended things their agent hadn't, and then he just got a case of wine delivered by the vendor.
Shared it to all of us.
12 bottles of wine, a legitimate thing. And that's what it's all about. It is about, reputation's everything, and all of us want to deal with people long term, not just make a quick buck. We want to help people and be trusted. So without that, people don't know you, they're not going to use you. So we need it as well to get out.
You've got to look after the buyers because they're your future vendors as well.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
The same with one we've had recently. We helped this couple find, a couple of years ago now, and they've literally come back to us needing to sell. Didn't even hesitate to go elsewhere because they knew that we were literally anything we had we'd gone to that's not even on the market, we'd call them. And that's the same for when we do the door knocking as well. It's the same approach. It's just what you're looking for, can we help?
Yeah.
And obviously if they're struggling, then we will lend a hand, but main focus is finding as well.
And bear in mind, we sold 4 properties last month working on Rightmove. So everyone's go-to, especially vendors themselves, vendors' kind of opinion of it as well. Surely they'll see the house on Rightmove, but also you've got to remember there's active buyers that are out there. There's also passive buyers that may be people that had their house valued a year and a half ago, decided to look, couldn't find, and who's speaking to those people? So you can't, to just assume that everyone looks on Rightmove isn't always the case. A decent agent will be out there helping you at every step, not just like that.
Yeah. Good. And price reductions obviously are quite a thing at the moment. And I sort of know myself that they can be difficult conversations to have.
Yeah.
And they always come from a really good place, and it's purely because that we want to help them and we kind of know the best way to do it. So what would you kind of say on that to...
Sure. We had this conversation yesterday and Luke said something really, really good. With a vendor, we've got a house in Lynham at the moment and I've been trying to reduce it. And sometimes when you get a different voice as well, like Luke called them and had a conversation, they took it a bit differently. But he said something to them because she turned around and said, oh, it looks like we're desperate. But he's, you know, and his argument was it's not desperation, it's actually motivation. Because if you're a buyer and you see a house sat on the market at that price for months, you're going to think, God, they're not keen to sell because they would have done something about it. Whereas if a property is reduced, you know that they're planning to move, they want to get things moving. And it doesn't always mean that you're going to achieve a lower price either. It's like we always say, it's like fishing, isn't it? You've got to reel the buyers in. Then when they find it and they fall in love with it, you pay a bit more. It's like anything. I mean, ask Alex about cars and stuff. You know, you don't expect to pay as much. You go and fall in love with something. You figure it out.
Exactly. And also, that's kind of your job to. That gives you guys a point of negotiation, doesn't it? Like you would rather have offers to work with, and right, not all of them might come good, and somebody might not get up to the level the seller's expecting or hoping for.
Absolutely.
But you have to have somewhere to start if you're going to be able to sell.
Absolutely.
To sell that house.
I think the problem is, look, you're leaving. The bottom line is, as soon as your property hits the internet, you're leaving a digital footprint. So anything's only worth what someone's willing to pay for it. And the bottom line is that people worry that if we start reducing, it looks desperate. It's the English way that we all think, oh, what's wrong with it? You know, why is it reduced? It's not selling. But the truth of the matter is, if you've got a really good agent that's on the phone talking to people and he's having these conversations, you know, we tried a little bit more. They're now, I don't know, they've found a property. They're now more motivated to sell, whatever it is. And there's still that trust in the agent that we will say to people that we are not here to be right. The valuations are opinions. We're here to put the most money in your back pocket. But you don't want to just be sitting on the market with no plan, just the marketing just rotting. You know, you're going further and further in that algorithm down the pages, and everyone obviously always wants that dopamine fix of that new property, newest listed. So your agent should be there, you know, changing photos, you know, looking what it goes back to the door knocking, you know, what's happening in terms of interest, changing photos, changing the description, remarketing, doing videos, having a plan as opposed to just chucking it on the internet and crossing your fingers.
And I think it's also what they're buying. So sometimes it's worth them reducing because that may then reflect what they're able, what they get offered on what they offer on the next house.
Speaking to a broker and actually seeing, no, we can't afford that. We've had numerous times where we've put them back in touch with a broker. Okay, so this reduction looks bad on this, and we've got them a little bit off the other end. But actually, when they sit with a broker, people don't think to do this. You just think, well, I'm dropping this, I'm losing that. But actually, when they get the figures in front of them, long term, like anything, it isn't as bad as they think. You know,
we've literally got that at the minute, and it's like the one that they're happy to take a hit on theirs if they can secure the onward at this price. But then it's just trying to make it all financially work for everybody. So you're kind of not just negotiating on one house, you're negotiating on the whole chain of them.
And what you want to do is kind of take the focus away from what the seller is going to accept for their house and make it work on the differential. So it's like, if no price was involved, how much money did you want to take out to put into the next one and work it? Because looking at it a bit sort of creatively, I suppose. And
it all moves together. The one that I've got at the moment that she's interested in, other than her, unfortunately, it's not getting much interest. So, you know, if it's a case of her having to take lower on hers and he has to take lower on his, then although, you know, it's all paper money really, isn't it, if you look at it, because she's no better or worse off if she got more for hers and paid more for that.
And I think that's the thing, is being able to have those conversations to change their perspective on it, because I think when a price is set or discussed, that kind of becomes, even if they weren't expecting to get that prior to maybe somebody going out, that becomes the price, doesn't it? So if you can get them to flip their thinking on it and get them to think about it a little bit differently,
the honest question is, what would you pay for your home? You know, because I know this is what everyone wants, but the honest question is, let's be with all the information. When I started staging in the dark ages, there was no right move, no nothing. You just had to know what you were doing, which was even more difficult. Nowadays, there's so much information out there for people. So that question of, look, I appreciate you want this, or the agent told you this, but what would you pay for your home? Most people have a rough idea if they're really truly honest with themselves.
Good point. And then fall throughs obviously are something that just happen often. Often out of anybody's control. It's just one of those things. I think obviously, as we would be deflated if it happened and we lost a buyer. But what kind of, what would you say to somebody who's experienced a fall through and is having to remarket? What are kind of the positives that you can take from that?
Come put your house on the market with us and get rid of changing on with.
And what if it's one of your clients?
I think look, the bottom line is situations. We haven't got a crystal ball.
It's really circumstantial.
We say to everyone, don't we? Look, we always want to back the right horse. We get paid on results. Unlike a lot of people, we have to work for to get paid. So from our point of view, look, if things fall through, we're really diligent. Our sales progression's good. Everything we offer as a company. Sometimes things fall through. There's things that are beyond your control. But you've just got to go again. And we've had situations that we've remarketed and actually managed to get a better quality buyer or get more money. So
I think
I hate saying everything happens for a reason.
I think the quality of buyer is really important when it comes to fall throughs.
Absolutely.
Because you will get some buyers who pull out for a reason that seems really unusual or maybe not so much of a big deal to maybe us than they feel it is. And often that's because either they don't want to buy the house or maybe the money situation's not exactly the same, and fair play to them, they don't want to say why. That's not for us to know.
Just, like needing some advice or guidance as well, because sometimes we've been so close but right at the end you're able to give them some extra guidance and say, look, this is the situation, this is what you're losing, this is what you're gaining, and then actually when they've got all of that in front of them, sometimes they stick with it. So I think we're quite good at salvaging the ones that can be. If it's a major problem, sometimes circumstantial, you can't really do anything. But like Alex said, just give it another go, get it online. If obviously it's changed drastically price-wise, we'll obviously try a different approach.
And I think also it's like learning from the surveys. So if a buyer's pulled out because, I don't know, of a roof problem or a damp problem, or, there's some weird flying freehold or something like that, it's the seller might not have even known about. It's the education you guys get from
100%.
the previous experience, so that your next buyer knows that before they get any further into the process.
I think the best thing a vendor can do, if you're genuinely looking to put your house on the market seriously, the best thing you can do, especially if you've got something leasehold or something like that, is go and instruct a solicitor, open a file. Most solicitors fall through. Sales fall through in the first couple of weeks. I've got one I've just listed literally yesterday that's got a septic tank, and the septic tank is in the neighbour's garden. And I've said to him, do not wait for this to be sorted out. Once it's done, get on with this now while we begin the marketing. The second that buyer's locked in, most people pull out in that first few weeks normally. Literally contracts out, you've got the buyer making that financial commitment, they're locked in. That's really, really important.
You're better to be transparent. It's just going to come up anyway.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
Even with the surveys and stuff, if they come back bad, we sometimes suggest to vendors to buy them from the previous buyer, because then, like you say, they know exactly what they're getting themselves into. There's not going to be any mucking around or renegotiations later on. It's just, this is what you've got.
And also the seller can get those problems looked at. Because obviously surveys are often written worse than what the situation actually is. So if we can send specialists out that go, actually the roof's fine, or yes, it's a little bit damp, but it needs to be because of this, that, or the other. That helps as well, doesn't
Absolutely.
it? Good.
Yeah.
Anything else? So just listen to you guys, because you're not trying to ruin people's lives. You're just trying to help.
No, just trying to help. Just trying to get.
You're not trying to burst through their front door, knock their house down.
Transparent and honest. That's what it's about.
We get a buzz more when we get more money for people's properties as well. We don't want to have to reduce things and stuff, but at the end of the day, you're better off reducing it now and getting more money than saying no and then actually looking back on it and going, I should have taken that, or it's tricky, but
thanks.
We're not here to ruin their lives.
No. Thank you.
No worries.